What is it like out there for home buyers here on the Central Coast? Should you wait for mortgage rates to drop, or should you purchase now and go for some credits from sellers? Property seller, how should be pricing in today's market? Well, if you're curious to know the answers to those questions and get the overall update for the Central Coast housing market, you've come to the right video. I'm Joshua Ferris with Joshua Ferris Real Estate Keller Williams, and I'll be giving you my local perspective as an agent listing houses and helping buyers buy their homes here on the Central Coast. I want to give you the inside scoop so you can be best prepared for yourself and your family if you're planning on making a move in 2025. Whether you're relocating here, you're buying your first home, you're selling your first home, whatever the situation is, we're here to help. We'll be talking about those active listings, inventory. We'll be talking about the pricing trends, all of that here. So let's go ahead and get started. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment. Let me know what your thoughts are for the housing market here on the Central Coast this year. This is your Central Coast housing market update for May of 2025. And let's go ahead and get started. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the inventory levels. We'll be talking about pricing. We'll be talking about supply and demand. And again, what you can do to make the best decisions for yourself. I'll give you some tips for property sellers and home buyers, so make sure to stay tuned for that. Let's go ahead and get started with volume. So we saw $474 million sell in April. Now that was up 2% in 2024, which was $464 million, which saw a sizable increase from 2023 of 33%. Now that $474 million in volume closed last month was due to 223 homes sold. Now that was actually down about 4% when we compare to 2024, where there were 232. So we can see that even though there's a decrease in the closed sales, there's an increase in the volume amount. And a part of that is due to that increase in the median sales price. Median sales price right now, $899,000, which is up 4% versus last year. We did see a little bit of a pullback from last month, which was $925,000. So right around $900,000 is the median sales price for the county. And let's go ahead and get into what you could expect to pay on average per city here in San Luis Obispo County and Santa Maria, just to give you an idea maybe what areas might be most affordable and reflect your budget. So let's go ahead and get started with North County and move our way down south. For Paso Robles, the average sales price was $664,000, making it one of the most affordable cities here on the Central Coast for home buyers. Atascadero, $832,000 last month. Templeton, 1.5, just under 1.5 million. San Luis Obispo, on average, those homes are selling for 1.25 million. Moving south and over to the coast, we see in Los Osos an average sales price of $932,000. And for Rio Grande, we saw another increase of about 10% year over year when we compare to 2024, $1,160,000. For Oceano, the average sales price, $646,000. Grover Beach, $726,000. Nipomo, just over $1 million at $1,045,000. And Santa Maria, $673,000 for the average sales price. I'm overall optimistic about the North County here for the Central Coast. I think that Paso Robles and Atascadero will continue to be attractive spots for people who maybe don't have the budget for San Luis Obispo City or the coastal cities. So I think we should keep an eye on Paso Robles, Atascadero, and see those appreciations over the years. I'm really optimistic also about Grover Beach with the Grand Avenue development there. I think we're going to see some strong appreciation in upcoming years. So if you're an investor or a buyer and you're thinking between a few different areas, you want to have strong appreciation, I think Grover Beach is going to be one of the strong cities here for the county in the upcoming years when it comes to value increase. So out of that 223 homes that sold last month, what percentage of the original list price did they sell for? So what was the comparison between the original list price and the sales price? So we saw on the median, 98% of original price received. Now that's down just a little bit year over year, 1.7% versus 2024. But that shows that we continue to see strong demand. Now it's more balanced demand, right? So the supply and the demand is more balanced out than it was in years past. But it brings us to an important topic in answering that question for you as a seller, that on average, or for the median, the houses that are priced correctly are selling for their asking price or just a little bit above. It's more important than ever to price accordingly in today's market based on your property's condition and what recent comparables have sold for. If you're overpricing your home, then expect it to last longer on the market and potentially not get the price that you originally wanted versus pricing a little bit lower and having the market correct and potentially get multiple offers and get bid up. So nice, strong, balanced market right now. That's overall the message that I would have for sellers, making sure that you're properly pricing according to today's market conditions. A great statistic that we like to look at to really give a gauge of supply and demand is the average number of showings to under contract. Right now for the county, we're at 7.8, which is actually down 23% versus last year, which was 10. So average showings to under contract gives a good gauge if you are a home seller and you're selling a house that isn't drastically unique or really a luxury listing, but just a standard property. Expect within 7 to 9 showings, you're probably going to go under contract. And if you haven't already, good chance that you might be overpriced. So something to keep in mind, and something we sit down with and show our sellers when we're doing our listing presentation and we're partnering together on a marketing plan. We're talking about the pricing, we're talking about what we're going to do if we don't have an acceptable offer after that certain period of time, let's say the 7 or 8 showings, on what the next steps are. But good thing to be in mind of if you are a property seller, and when we, like I said, we sit down, we go over each individual city and area, neighborhood, because it all really just depends on a specific area and the type of property that you're selling. Let's go ahead and shift gears here and talk about the inventory levels. So we've had an inventory crisis here for the last few years on the Central Coast because it's such a desirable area to live. And there really just aren't that many houses for sale. So we have seen, which is a good thing, some inventory increases. So right now, active listings around 750. Now that has increased over the last 3 months, which is a good sign. And we saw in new listings this last month in April of 272. Now that was down versus 2024 in April, which was 324. Now typically on an election year or a year right after an election, we see that the market tends to slow down a little bit in that first quarter and pick up in quarter number 2 versus in non-election years. It tends to pick up in that first quarter, maybe in February, March, April. Now we're seeing it pick up in April, May, June. So just something to keep in mind if you are thinking about selling your property. There's going to be a little bit more competition in later months. If you're a home buyer, it might give you some more opportunity in later months here as we head into June, July, May, June, July. Might be more opportunities for you as a buyer. My advice for you as a buyer, if you're thinking about buying already, now buying a home is like starting a family. It really depends on what your personal time frame is. But let's go ahead and talk a little bit about strategy here. So my team and I are closing on three houses in this upcoming week for buyers. So representing 3 buyers, closing up 3 houses this week. In all cases, we were able to negotiate credits for closing costs or to pay down the loan. So the question is, as a home buyer, should you wait for the interest rates to lower before getting into the market. Now, ultimately, that's a decision for yourself, but something to think about is if those interest rates decrease, that is going to increase buying power, that's going to increase competition, and actually push us potentially more into a seller's market. So something to keep in mind if you are already thinking about becoming a home buyer and you're just deciding, should I wait for those interest rates to lower or should I go shopping now, is to take a look at your budget, get pre-approved, see what you're comfortable with when it comes to your monthly payment and what type of house you want. Now that we have more inventory of houses, there are more options for you. Sellers are more willing to offer concessions like credits or potentially price reduction depending. Each house, each area is different, of course. And there are also great ways to save money by doing a 2-1 buy down, maybe going after the adjustable rate mortgage and then waiting to refinance in a couple years. Looking for those credits, looking for those price reductions, taking advantage of that increased inventory, and a lot of buyers who might be in your shoes who are a little bit concerned about those interest rates. So just something to keep in mind, that we are seeing more seller concessions than we saw in previous years, which can be a good thing for savvy home buyers. So what's the overall trend that we're seeing here for the Central Coast, where we're seeing increased inventory, which is a good thing, more options for home buyers or for home sellers who are contingent on buying a replacement property. So if you haven't sold a house, maybe you tried selling a few years ago and there just wasn't enough inventory out there, maybe now would be a good time to step back into the market now that there's more options for you. So more inventory, we've got stable prices, and we've got a more balanced market. So it's not an extreme seller's market that we saw a few years ago. It's more of a balanced market with pretty average appreciation that we've seen. And so that's overall the kind of the market update here for the Central Coast. If you're curious to know what your property could sell for, talk to us about our marketing plan. We'd be happy to sit down with you and walk you through that. And if you're a home buyer, you want to save some money, get the right kind of house for yourself, and you want a team that's going to be partnering with you on that process and potentially bringing you off-market properties that aren't available to the general public, feel free to reach out. Again, we'd be happy to sit down with you with a consultation just to see if there's an opportunity for us to add value to you as a home buyer. Again, please like and subscribe and let me know in the comments what you think might be happening in the real estate market here on the Central Coast. Until next time, hope you have a great one. See you soon.